What if Eurydice had never been behind him at all? Just before reaching the surface, Orpheus could no longer resist. He turned around. For a brief moment, he saw Eurydice reaching toward him with love in her eyes. But because he had broken the condition, she slowly faded into darkness. Her final words were a gentle farewell as she disappeared forever into the underworld. Orpheus cried out in despair, but it was too late. He begged the gods for another chance, but none was given. The gates of the underworld closed, and Eurydice was gone forever. For the rest of his life, Orpheus wandered alone, playing songs of love, loss, and longing. His music became even more beautiful because it carried the pain of a broken heart. Though he never saw Eurydice again in life, his story became one of the greatest legends ever told, a reminder of the power of love and the tragedy of human doubt. The myth of Orpheus and Eurydice teaches us that love is powerful enough to overcome impossible obstacles, but trust is just as important. Fear, impatience, and doubt can destroy even our greatest hopes. Sometimes, believing and holding on until the very end requires more courage than looking back. And so, the story of Orpheus and Eurydice has been remembered for thousands of years, not only as a tale of tragic love, but also as a timeless lesson about faith, trust, and the consequences of giving in to fear. Because it carried the pain of a broken heart. But though he never saw Eurydice again in life, his story became one of the greatest legends ever told. Tragedy teaches us that it's just as doubt. Footnote to Youth by José García Villa. The story begins with Dudong, a 17-year-old Filipino farmer who believes he is mature enough to make his own decisions. Deeply in love with Taeyang, a young woman from the same village, Dudong dreams of building a happy family with her. Convinced that love is all they need, he decides to ask his father for permission to marry. Although Dudong's father realizes that his son is still very young and has much to learn about life, he quietly grants his permission. He understands that some lessons cannot simply be taught, they must be experienced. Dudong feels excited and confident, believing that marriage will bring him endless happiness. Soon after their wedding, Dudong and Taeyang begin their new life together. At first, everything feels wonderful. They are hopeful, excited, and filled with dreams about their future. However, reality quickly replaces their youthful excitement when Taeyang becomes pregnant. Dudong suddenly discovers that providing for a family is far more difficult than he had imagined. Farming is exhausting, money is scarce, that youth often believes experience belongs only to others. Just as his own father had done years before, Dudong quietly gives his permission, understanding that life itself will become his son's greatest teacher. The story ends with Dudong reflecting on the choices he made as a young man. He realizes that while love is beautiful, it must be accompanied by patience, responsibility, and maturity. The title, Footnote to Youth, reminds us that the experiences of youth often become small lessons, or footnotes, that shape the rest of our lives. Moral of the story, with Dudong reflecting on the choices he made as a young man to build a successful life. He realizes that while love comes from responsibility, it must be accompanied by patience, and learning from experience and before making life-changing choices. The title, Footnote to Youth, reminds us that the experiences of youth often become small lessons, or footnotes, that shape the rest of our lives. Moral of the story, with Dudong reflecting on the choices he made as a young man to build a successful life. He realizes that while love comes from responsibility, it must be accompanied by patience, and learning from experience and before making life-changing choices. The title, Footnote to Youth, reminds us that the experiences of youth often become small lessons, or footnotes, that shape the rest of our lives. Moral of the story, with Dudong reflecting on the choices he made as a young man to build a successful life. He realizes that while love comes